Hey everyone, welcome back to Against the Grain podcast. My name is Sarah, and today we have a really special episode planned. We're in a new space, we have a new sign. Renell, can you tell us what we have going on today?
Yeah, my name is Renell. I'm a junior at Parris High School. Here joined by NFL player Parris Campbell. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like team you play for, and a little background?
Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. I am thrilled to be here to talk with you guys. So originally, I'm from Akron, Ohio. I went to St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron, Ohio, high school. Then I went to Ohio State University. Then I got drafted to the Indianapolis Colts in 2019. Played there for 4 years. Signed with the New York Giants. Played there for a year. This past year, signed with Philadelphia Eagles. Played with them for a year, and now just signed with the Dallas Cowboys. So looking forward to that adventure and see what the Lord has next for me.
We have a little goofy icebreaker to start it off.
Let's do it.
If you could combine any two animals to ride into battle, what would they be?
I would say first off a cheetah for sure. Just because they're fast, obviously you can get away if we run into some trouble. And then a rhino. Obviously big, strong, fast as well. So those are my two.
Cool. I have to ask, you went to Ohio State and you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. How has Philly been the past couple of months?
It's been everything and more, honestly. It's become a mini home for me and my family. We didn't really know what to expect when we first got here. In the NFL world, you hear about their fans and how crazy they are and stuff like that. But we found a home in Calvary Chapel. We found a home in Innovate Academy where our son Kai goes. And it's, like I said, it's really become a mini home for us. And we're going to miss it. We're going to miss it, to say the least. And I know it'll just always be special here. And when we do get a chance to come back and do all that stuff, we'll look forward to it for sure.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Can we talk a little bit about your testimony? Because, the basis of any Christian faith is the testimony. And I watch your Varsity House podcast and also your Talking Testimonies podcast. And I realized that our testimonies are really similar. I'll just give a little bit of mine. And it was last year for me, January, I also got injured. It was in 7th grade. I got this stress fracture in my back. So I've been on and off every single season, missed more than half of it.
Wow.
So, and last year was the worst for me that whole week when it first started. And all I remember was getting home and just dropping my bag. Everybody was at work, laid on my bed, just played worship music, bawling my eyes out. I remember that was the whole thing. Just waking up for school was the worst thing. I was just looking for a little glimpse of hope. And every time I opened my Bible and always found it. God always answered. And that was through that dark time. That's where I found my true relationship with God. Because I always grew up Christian, but only thing when I was in church, it was just trying to get out, looking at the clock, when are we going to be out, when are we going to be out. So, tell me a little bit about yours.
Yeah, to be honest, it's super similar. Everything that you just said, word for word, is literally my testimony as well. I grew up Christian. The people that were in my life that ran my faith were my mom and my grandma. That's how I grew up. They made sure I was at church every Sunday, but I was the same way, looking at the clock, when's the time to go home? I want to go home and play video games and play outside, stuff like that. And so faith was, it was always there, and I knew it was something that I had to do, but it didn't come personal to me until I got to the NFL. A little bit in college, still here and there, I would obviously pray every day, but I wasn't relying on Jesus like I needed to. And then I had to see it for myself once I got to the NFL because the first year, my rookie year in the NFL, I had 3 different injuries, 3 different surgeries, and it was brutal. I just wanted to play ball, you know what I mean? That's all I wanted to do. And every single time I just remember asking why? Why me? Everyone else that I got drafted with is out here balling, making plays, and I know I have the ability to go do that, but the injuries are hindering me. And I found myself in that battle with God, asking him why, why me out of everybody, why me? And same, there was many times where I was in my closet, praying and just bawling my eyes out because I didn't understand. And I seen just through every injury, just battling, fighting, building resiliency, always coming back and getting healthy. The Lord just showed me something that was bigger than ball, you know what I mean? And I found purpose in that. He allowed me to go through hardships and come out better on the other side, growing from that. So I guess that's a little bit into my testimony.
I know in your podcast, Kicking It with the Campbells, you and your wife are talking about just like constantly moving and not having like the consistency of like friends and relationships
Yes.
with your family. How have you navigated that, and how has that like, I guess, strengthened your relationship with God?
Shoot, I mean that's the core of it, honestly. You know, I think as humans, it's human nature to want to be comfortable and have some sort of stability. And you know, in my profession, it's either you're super comfortable or like me, you're moving every year. And you know, one thing that really kind of bothered me the most about it is the kids. Because you know they get my son, Skylar's not in school yet, but Kai, he gets into school, he gets friends, he gets comfortable, and then you know things happen and we have to change states. And you know, a part of me is like, I just hate that for him, just because you know, I mean, as you all like you guys love your friends, you guys love where you go to school, like that's part of being a kid. But then the other side of it is, I know the Lord is needing our presence elsewhere, and that's where I find comfortability in it. To be honest with you, it's funny because this past Sunday, Pastor Bob said something, and he was like, "It's not about where you are; it's about who you are." And that's all the Lord cares about. And that was something that stuck with me this past Sunday because, once again, like I said, I'm moving again. So, you know, that's a nugget I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life because I know it's not about where I am, it's about who I am. And the people that I can connect, the people that I can reach, that's what Jesus cares about most.
Yeah, and just talking a little bit more about your podcast and your just YouTube channel in general. Like, I know that it was Taylor's, your wife's idea first, and she was a little like disobedient about it and like didn't talk to you about it for like what, after 6 months maybe. And tell us like how she just brought it up and what you guys were thinking and the conversations with even Miss Way and your in the locker room.
So the whole thing was really wild. So she first got the idea when we were in New Jersey when I was with the Giants, and it was like that whole year was tough for us. Both of us mentally were in a bad spot. Things with the team, obviously the team, we weren't winning, so that's never good. Like it's just compound on top of a mess. And so when she brought the idea to me, it was something that I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool, but like didn't really have a vision for it, didn't know what it would look like, how we would do it, how it would come about. And yeah, like, shoot, 6 months to almost a year passed by, and we were here in Philly, and she brings it up again, and you know, I'm like, okay, well, the Lord's put this on your heart, so it means something. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we need to start trying to make it work. And ironic enough, like, I mean, we had all the equipment. We had so many cameras. We had microphones. We had lighting. Like, we had everything we needed. We just didn't do it. We didn't take the next step. And yes, Charlotte Wade, Miss Wade, is essentially she's my godmother. But she's my person in Christ. She's who I connect with on a spiritual level, and we share spiritual, you know, just prayers, words, talks throughout our lives. And she's just someone that I can connect with on a different level spiritually. And, you know, in the midst of me and Taylor talking about the podcast, me and Miss Wade are like, we're having like one of our monthly check-ins, and we're talking on the phone. And she's like, the Lord put it on my heart that you should start a podcast. And I'm like, okay, that's just confirmation, right? Because how crazy is that me and Taylor has been talking about it. She had no idea, you know what I mean? And for the Lord to put that on her heart, I knew that was the Lord getting my attention to be like, all right, you need to go ahead and move forward with this. So yeah, that's how it came about.
So good. How does your faith influence the way you play?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is every time I step the field, obviously I pray. But in a sense, to me, it's number one, like I just want to give God the glory for giving me the abilities to be on the field playing, because I know that gift is from Him and no one knows. Yeah, I work hard, I put time in, but I wouldn't be there without Him, and I wouldn't have these abilities without Him. So that's first and foremost. And then just every single time I go out there, I want to give it my all, because it's almost like, I know I can never pay the Lord back, but that's my way of getting in that headspace. Like, no matter what the day is like, how hard it is, I got to give it my all because the Lord has blessed me. So just trying to, you know, do my due diligence.
That's good. And then kind of going along with that, how do you balance like that with integrity?
Yeah, I think that's just the core of it. I mean, I think that's an add-on, you know, because integrity goes a long way. It's like, I gotta have integrity in this work, because if I'm not holding it and doing it, giving it my all, it's like, how can I bring that back to the Lord? You know what I mean? It's just like, if it's not the 100% full product, full hard work, like, how can I bring that back to the Lord? So, it's just the same thing. Like, just trying to do my due diligence and give back to Him.
That's good.
Yeah, what about on a competition level? Because I also play basketball. There's a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
And like, just with the world, like what the world says, like, yo, you gotta have this fire, this fuel. You gotta hate the person in front. You gotta go kill them. How do you Because I've been trying to balance that
100%.
way. And yeah, how do you do that?
So for me, obviously, like, the level that I do it on is a little bit different, right? Because at the end of the day, in the NFL, people are doing it to feed their families. Like, it's our livelihoods, it's our job. But I would say, especially at a high school level, number one thing is, you have to, competitiveness we're here to compete, right? And the Lord made sports for a reason, right? And number one, I think He made sports for us all to be able to connect and share stories and share hardships and share wins and losses, just to be able to connect a different way. But it's okay to have a fiery side, right? Like, that's why we play the game, and that's what makes it fun. But at the same time, it's like, you got to realize, this is what I'm doing, but this is not who I am or what I, you know what I mean? You're not basketball, you're not football, you're not whatever sports you play, you're not that. You just do that, and you just bring your own little twist and flavor to it. So I think there's a balance, but it's all fun at the end of the day.
Kind of going along with your teammates and competitors, how has having conversations about Jesus with your team and staff, impacted and planted seeds for them?
So to be honest with you, this past year with the Eagles has been the most I've ever heard Jesus in a locker room. I kid you not. And to be honest with you, I took it upon myself to have these conversations, right? And I was just fortunate enough to have guys in the locker room to want to have those conversations as well. But I kid you, these conversations got heated. It was multiple times where I just felt like so many people were kind of combating me on Jesus and what he's who he is and what he stands for, and then how I try to integrate him in these conversations. I just felt a little pushback at times, but I didn't shy away because I knew the Lord was with me, right? And I had people in my corner on staff, other teammates who supported and backed me as well. So it was fun, to be honest with you. If I can get one person talking about Jesus, whether it's good or bad, I have you questioning, that's the first step. You know what I mean? So exactly, the seed is planted. So I know somewhere down the line in their lives, they're going to remember those conversations. They're probably already thinking about it, doing whatever research they can now. But I think, like you said, planting seeds is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about that, I started this club at my school called Veritas, Latin word for truth, and something that God has been walking me through about planting seeds and everything. That it's our job to plant the seeds, right, to make disciples, but it's not our job to make them, convert 100%. Them and stuff like that. So that's been a big a shift that I had to make. So
and I think that's kind of the privilege you get with a podcast setting too, right? It's we're going to put the podcast out there, and however many people watch it, whether one person watches it or 100 people watch it, someone's getting touched and that seed is being planted in their lives. So, every seed grows at its own pace too.
Yeah.
Continue to water, whatever. Throw soil in there, keep throwing them, but they're going to grow at their own time. And like you said, Jesus is the one that's changing lives, not us. We're just being disciples and doing His will. So.
Yeah. Because the seeds were planted in us at times, and me
100%.
and you would happen when that injury, we've been hearing it all our lives, and then now it was God's time for that. Yeah, so just trusting that.
It's crazy. I get chills talking about this type of stuff because I don't know. I've had this past year has been a really transformative year for me, just in my faith. Obviously, continue to grow each and every day, but just seeing more, understanding more. And I had an instance, this was probably 2 or 3 months ago, kind of towards the end of the season. Someone actually stopped me after church. And we were in the parking lot, me, Taylor, and the kids. We were in the parking lot trying to figure out where we were going to go to lunch after church. And we were sitting there not debating, but like going, just, trying to decide where we're going. And someone came up to me, and he was like, a cousin of mine, me and him have been talking sports like our entire lives, but I've been trying to get him to, just like believe in Jesus, for lack of better words. Like I'm trying to get him to know Jesus. And he's like, I've been in this fight with him for about a year now, and I can't pull him through. But he saw an interview that I did in the locker room, and I think it was the week we played Tampa Bay. We lost the game, but I got cut initially at the beginning of the year. They cut me. They let me go, and then they brought me back on practice squad. I was on practice squad for a couple of weeks, and then they brought me up to active for a few weeks. And I played in the game. I played in the Tampa Bay game. I scored a touchdown. And the interviewers, they were asking me, like, how did you stay in it? Like, what? I'm like, shoot, this is the Lord's will. Like, he's the one that got me here. Like, I'm just following his plan and his will. And he told me, he was like, yeah, my cousin saw that interview, and he is all about Jesus now. And I was like,
that's awesome.
I was like, what? Like, I was in shock. But once again, like, just opening my eyes, like, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're just pieces to the puzzle to get other people close to him. So I get joy, and I get, satisfaction from that, for sure.
That's such a good reminder, like, even when things don't go our way, like, it doesn't make sense that you got cut or, like, why you're on the practice squad. But, like, for that exact opportunity, God knew that time that guy needed to hear that video 100%. That you needed to score that touchdown at that specific game. We all go to public school, so we're, like, surrounded by, like, maybe non-Christians at the time. What advice would you give to someone who's maybe on a team surrounded by that atmosphere, trying to follow Jesus?
I would say, first and foremost, like, be yourself and don't change that. Like, if you're a Jesus freak, be a Jesus freak. Like, I learned that a little bit too, just because, like, when you're younger and, you're playing sports and you're in whatever type of crowd, like, it's easy to try to, like, fit in and, like, just be the majority. But one thing about Jesus is, like, everywhere he went, he stood out.
Yeah.
Even when, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he came on earth, like, he stood out every single place he went. And, as Christians, as believers, we want to be like him, so we got to stand out. And, like, no matter if you're getting pushed back, people aren't hearing you or whatever, like, they're going to find their way. Jesus is going to find a way. And I think that's through us. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a call, and everyone has a will to follow. Like, Jesus has placed a calling on every one of our lives. But the calling that's similar in all of our lives is to be a disciple. And I truly believe that. And, it wasn't easy for Jesus to be a disciple of himself. Like, it wasn't like people weren't hearing him. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I think number one is just got to be ourselves and continue to proclaim Jesus always.
Sure. Let's get into a little bit more about your family and, like, Taylor and your son Kai, your firstborn.
Yes.
And it's a big. I know it's a big part of Taylor's testimony. How that all went down and like the complications. You want to open up about that?
Yeah. So just a little bit of background on that. So we did have Kai my senior year of college. He was not planned, but Jesus, like, he uses all sin in a way to get us to see him more, and he definitely did that with Kai. And yes, my wife Taylor, this is a huge part of her testimony. So when he was born, she was in labor for about, I want to say close to 27, 28 hours. She was in labor for a while. And she had been telling the doctor and the nurses that she felt that Kai was, like, ready to be born. No one was hearing her. They thought that, it just wasn't time. They continued to check her, whatever. She wasn't dilated. And so time just kept going by, and she's looking at me like, yo, you need to get somebody to get this baby out, because I feel him. So I'm, obviously I'm calling the doctors and nurses, like, please just check her one more time, like, just please. So they check her, and she's like 2 centimeters more dilated than she's supposed to be. So, like, they're trying to, like, rush and hurry. So we had a midwife, and our midwife wasn't there. Our midwife had left. It wasn't her hours to be at the hospital. So she left, and she lived like 45 minutes away from the hospital. Ironically, right? So, yeah, whatever. So another doctor comes in, another delivery doctor comes in, and they're getting ready to do the delivery. So Kai comes out, and I'm down there watching. Yes, I had to watch. It was my firstborn. And he comes out, and I kid you guys not, like, he's lifeless. And I'm in shock because I'm already not too sure what to expect. So I didn't know like if that was normal, if like time would pass by, he would be okay. And he got stuck when they were delivering him as well. So I remember them guiding Kai into my hands, and like his body just like flopped like into my hands. And so I'm like, this can't be normal, right? So I'm like, I don't really know what to do. I'm trying to like guide him to Taylor so she can hold her son. Like it was crazy. And so then like that happens and we hear stat like over the loudspeaker. They yell stat, and I kid you guys not, like shoot 10, 12 doctors run in, like sirens are going off, and they like grab Kai and take him to this like small incubator in the side of the room, and they had to resuscitate him. And the whole time I'm standing there, I'm just like, I'm praying because he's not alive, like he's dead. So then one of the nurses comes up to me and she's like, just start to say his name, just start to say his name. So I'm saying Kai, 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 in the midst of like praying and talking to the Lord. I'm like, Lord, please just let him be okay, let him be okay. And so they finally resuscitate him, they get him breathing, but then we have to take him to a completely different hospital because this hospital is not equipped for what just happened. So number one, he got stuck. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck like 3-4 times. Taylor was right. He was ready to be delivered when she was telling him. And so he went so long without oxygen to his brain that he had brain damage and he had blood on his brain. And it's a disorder called HIE. I cannot give you guys the full term for that because I don't know how to pronounce it. But it's basically just when a newborn during delivery has gone a certain amount of time with no oxygen to their brain. So there's significant amount of brain damage because of that. And it was, I mean, we had no idea what was going to come of it. So me and Kai, they transported us to a different hospital. Taylor has to stay back because she just gave birth. She's not mobile. She can't move. And so I get to the other hospital and I walk in and it looks like an episode of Grey's Anatomy. Like it's just doctors flooding similar to a room like this. And the head doctor, he comes up to me and he's like telling me everything that I just told you guys. And Kai had to go through this process, and it was like a cooling process where they lay him in an incubator, just nothing but a diaper on, and put him on a cooling mat, and he had to be in this state for 3 days. And basically, the cooling mat drops his body temperature to like hypothermia body temperature, and that was to try to subdue the blood that was in his brain. And so the doctor, he tells me that, and then he's like, or we can do nothing. And I'm like, I don't know what we should do. So once again, I start praying. My mom is there with me. She looks at me. She's like, I cannot make this decision for you. Like, this is your child. Like, you have to make the decision. And I'm bawling. Because the doctor, he's like, if we do this process, there's a chance that it works, but there's also a chance that it doesn't work. Right. And they're like, if we don't do nothing, then there's a chance tomorrow morning you could wake up and your son not be here. And so I'm like, I heard that. I'm like, no, we gotta do everything that we can, right? So I call Taylor on the phone. I kind of tell her everything that's going on. She's bawling her eyes out. She's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not there. I can't. I don't know what to do. So we end up doing that 72 hours. He had to be like that for 72 hours for 3 days. And then everything goes by. And during this whole time, like, they're checking on him. He has sensors all over his head, all over his body. Like, it's crazy. Taylor didn't even get to hold Kai until like day 5 of him being born. And so at the end of all that, they tell us like Kai he's prone to have cerebral palsy. He might not ever walk on his own. He may not ever talk. And I don't know if you guys ever seen Kai, but Kai is perfectly fine. Like he's truly a miracle baby. And the brain damage was, I mean, he had to go to so many doctors like the first year of life. And the brain damage is completely gone. Like, he's perfectly fine. So yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of Taylor's testimony, but it was also a little bit of mine too, just because like we were poised with something that we had no idea what to expect, what to do. And the Lord came through for us, and he's our little miracle child.
That's crazy. I'm
sorry,
chilled.
It was long-winded.
No,
yeah.
Wow. I mean,
yeah,
praise God.
Yeah. And so now, like, he gets a little bit of favoritism because he made it through all that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But Nah, he's perfectly fine, man. He's truly a blessing, a gift from God.
Yeah, I think that just shows like even like you're like in the most desperate place, like there's nothing you can do. Like
Yeah.
you just like go to prayer because that's kind of like
That's
all in God's control.
That's all you got. That's
Wow.
literally all you got. And Kai, like, he did so much for me my senior year of college.
Yeah.
Like, I went on to have my best year, and it was just all about like motivation for him.
Yeah.
Like, I had just saw him, you know, he's 3 days old going through all this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, look, if Kai can go through this at such a young age, like, I'm fine on the football field. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good. You know what I mean? So he's just always been that extra motivation for me too. So yeah, I don't know, it's crazy, but it's a blessing.
Wow.
What do you think, like, that might be the craziest, like, hardest time throughout your whole life? What do you think that showed? Like, what fruit have you seen from that later in your life, from the lessons learned, or in you and Taylor's life?
Yeah, I would say for me personally, just the ringer of the NFL, honestly. Kind of, you know, being on 3 different teams in 3 years, like we talked about earlier, like just not having that stability. But I kid you guys not, like free agency is a scary time. Like, and I'm a person who gets super anxious. And so, you know, when you just don't know what's next, you know, it's human nature to weigh on you, like, because we want to know what's next, where we're going, like what's happening. So after the season ends, there's a dead period where, you know, teams can't talk to players. And then there's a period where free agency actually officially starts early March. But kind of a couple days before that, you see, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like all the like big signings on ESPN, like, oh, he signed for this, he signed for that, like, and so that's when stuff starts getting heated up. But it gets so nerve-wracking. But I found that and I've gotten so much better with like this past year, like just being able to be at peace and knowing that, like, look, whatever happens and it's for a reason. And like just learning patience through it all too has been a big part of it. And I think that started with the birth of Kai, honestly. And, you know, I'm nowhere near perfect in it and dealing with it and handling it, but I can definitely see benefits and growth in it year to year. So, yeah, I wish Taylor was here to talk about hers, but she's an awesome mother. She's a great mother. She truly is, and she's an awesome wife, and I'm blessed to have her in my life. And she's kept me grounded. She's kept me like on my P's and Q's with our faith, and you know just how we you know raise our kids and how we run our family. Like she's truly, you know, the reason for a lot of it, and you know I've seen her grow so much, like in her faith as well. Just because being a stay-at-home mom is not easy by any means, especially with 2 little ones running around. So, you know, so much credit goes to her, and just thankful for her as well.
I know in the one podcast she's saying, like she asked God for peace and he gave her opportunities. Sorry, not peace, like patience. And like God gave her opportunities to practice patience.
Yes.
And that encouraged me and like made me think about like all the times that I'm not patient.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging.
I think what's cool about that is like we pray and ask God for a certain thing, and it's like He'll give it to us, but He'll give it to us in a totally different way. And it's like at first we're like, okay, this is not what I asked for. But at the end of it all, it's like when you work through it, it's like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. Yeah. And you know, for Taylor, like it was when we were in Jersey. Obviously, we went from Indiana where we were for 4 years, and we had a nanny. She had help, and we get to New Jersey, she has nothing. Right. Kai's school was an hour away. Traffic in New Jersey is absolutely awful. Do not suggest going there. But she was driving an hour one way and an hour back with our daughter Skylar, who was 1 at the time. So she's screaming her head off every single car ride. And I mean, that went on for a whole year. So she was spending 4 hours in a car just driving to school. And you know what I mean? So like she learned patience throughout that though. And like, she's so patient. Like she's way better than me with the kids for sure. But yeah, like you said, like she got that, just not the way she thought she was gonna get it. Right. And it's just funny how that works, because he never gives it to us like clean and cut. Like he wants us to work through it and to grow through it. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, God has blessed your family so much. What values do you hope to pass to your children?
Yeah, like we value faith so much in our house. Like Kai being at Innovate Academy has tested our faith so much because he learns so much.
Yeah.
And he comes home and he's talking about certain things in the Bible, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, he's teaching me things,
Wow.
you know what I mean? So that's been really, really cool to see. And now Skylar's getting older. She's 3 now, and she has dance parties every day, and she's listening to Jesus Loves Me, and she sings. Like, it's just so cool to see, right? But I think the biggest thing for us, like, the number one value is instilling that in them from a young and early age. To be, believers in Christ, and that the Lord guides us. And, I kid you not, Kai talks about what he wants to do when he gets older. And he's like, I want to go preach the gospel to people who are homeless, who are people that are in prison. I'm like, dude, you're 6 years old. Like, don't you want to be a fireman? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, what, like.
Is he playing football?
He is not yet.
Okay.
He wants to. Kai, he's kind of all over the place. He wants to box. He wants to do a whole bunch of stuff.
Get him into basketball too. Basketball.
Yeah, for sure. But he's like, his heart, man. He lives for Jesus. And it's just so awesome to see because I've never seen that in a kid his age. And so we're blessed. We're blessed, and the Lord just continues to work in us, and we're going to continue to pour into whatever community that we're in, and continue to proclaim Jesus, man.
That's awesome.
About like we were talking about your family, about how Taylor was dealing with the patients and everything, and how Kai wasn't planned and everything. So how did you guys meet and even grow into that such a strong faith with Jesus and everything?
Yeah. So, shoot, I can share this with y'all because this is part of our testimony as well. So when we found out Taylor was pregnant, it was devastating. It was groundbreaking. I was getting ready for my senior year at Ohio State. She had just moved to Columbus to move with me, and she was about to get stuff going in Columbus. She was nannying. She was trying to get into aesthetics. Like she had this plan, right? And so we find out she's pregnant, and like our whole world just stops. And honest to God truth, we thought about having an abortion, and we came close to having an abortion. We were driving to Planned Parenthood. I'm on the highway driving, and like, when you could just feel the Spirit like just talking to you, and like you just get that certain feeling. And I just had this off feeling the entire time I was driving. It was something that in the moment it sounded like, okay, yeah, this is what we need to do because we're not ready. We're both young. I'm still in college. Like, there's just no way this can happen. And then the other side of it is like, well, no, I'm a believer in Christ. Like, I know this is wrong, right? And so we get to Planned Parenthood, and we're sitting in the parking lot, and I say, Taylor, we're not doing this. Like, we cannot do this. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like this, the Lord is telling me that we can't do this. We're gonna figure it out. And we hadn't told anybody into that point. Like neither one of our parents knew. Nobody knew. It was just me and her. And I get a call from my sister, and she's like, is everything all right? And I'm like, yeah, like, why are you asking? And she's like, I just feel like something's off with you. And I'm like, you haven't talked to me in months. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, just trying to make sure that everything's okay with you guys. And I'm like, I tell her, like, well, no, Taylor's pregnant. And we're sitting in the parking lot of Planned Parenthood right now. And she's like, well, did you tell mom? And I'm like, absolutely not. What? Like, what? Like, there's no shot. So long story short, like, we end up leaving, and I call my mom when we get home, and I call her on FaceTime, and I am bawling because when me and Taylor moved in together, the number one thing my mom said was like, there can be no babies. Like, you guys are gonna do this, and that's fine, but there can be no babies. And obviously, like, me and my mom are super close, and so like I felt like I disappointed her and let her down. And so like I'm like on the phone with her bawling, and she's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "Can't talk." She's like, "Is Taylor pregnant?" And I'm like, like crying. And she's like, I'll call you back. And I mean, it was just a moment where me and Taylor like had no idea. Like we didn't know if we had any support from my family, her family. Like we didn't know how we were gonna do it. Like I was praying about it and talking to God, but I wasn't deeply rooted in my faith like I am now. And so we didn't know. And that was the best decision of our lives to turn around and go through with it and have Kai, because I think about it now to this day, man. I kid you not, and I don't want to get teary-eyed, but like when I drive Kai off from school, like I still think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm like what if we did that and he wasn't here? You know what I mean? And that's just like I cannot fathom life without my son. And I'm sure this is the same for Taylor. But the Lord, like, he saw us through. Like it's always gonna be okay. Like no matter how hard it looks, no matter what you're going through, like it's always gonna be okay. Like it's always gonna be a way made, because he is the way maker. So, yeah.
That's so good. Even like at your lowest point where you think like your career is about to go out the window, like now looking back, like your son's encouraging you and your faith. That's
really
cool.
He's encouraging the world. He's crazy. You guys are meant to do something for our podcast. Have you guys on somehow. No, seriously, you might have to shoot here or something. We really are trying to get into like having guests on, but I think it would be so dope for you guys to like come and like talk about your space and like being in, you know what I mean, like
so cool.
being the
Like
ages that you are,
teenagers
and like
because
like that's what I'm passionate about, like people your guys' age, because you guys are the next generation to lead, right? And like you see it a little bit now, like in the NFL and in professional sports, like people proclaiming Jesus more in interviews and stuff like that. But I'm talking about like day to day, like interaction. Like you talk about your guys' friends and like how you guys are in public schools, and some people aren't believers. Like you guys are the next generation, the next way to, you know, capture souls and get them to Jesus. You know what I mean? Because the more and more people we can capture for His kingdom, the more and more we pull them up. You know what I mean? The more and more we pull them up, and that's what it's about. So, we gotta figure something out. I ask you guys some questions next.
Yeah. All right, so obviously you won the Super Bowl this year. I'm sure that week was full of distractions. So how did you stay centered on God that week? And after such a big win, how did you and your family celebrate?
Yeah. So believe it or not, the media there is absolutely insane. And so we had to do like media every single day for like, it was like an hour. So it was like an hour blocked off just for media. And I was honestly so shocked because there was so many Christian media people there. And I talked to like literally every single one of them because they were familiar with the podcast. So everybody had a question and everybody wanted to talk. But I just thought it was so cool because that was like a prominent discussion at the Super Bowl. And, you know, they were asking the biggest names. So they're asking Jalen Hurts about it, Saquon Barkley, like AJ Brown, like all these guys. And all these guys are proclaiming Jesus. And like, that just put a smile on my face because God has blessed us with this platform, some bigger than others. And I talk to my teammates about this all the time. It's like some of these dudes have 2 million followers on social media. And I mean, shoot, you post one Bible verse and 100,000 people view your story. Like, that's touching at least 10 to 20 people at least. Like, and it's just, I don't know, like, it's just so cool that something like that at the Super Bowl and that Christian media and that it's just growing and growing and growing. And, you know, I got to make a lot of good connections with a lot of people who do, you know, certain podcasts. They have certain foundations. They have certain organizations where they go to prisons and they speak. And I don't know, like I made a lot of good connections with a lot of different people. And I'm excited for what the Lord has next in that space as well because he's brought so many connections with that. So that it was like the media thing was a bit of a distraction, but I was, you know, happy to see that it was Christian media. And then in terms of like how we celebrated, we didn't do much. Like we lay low. Like I saw my family after the game on the field. It was my wife, Kai, and my mom, and I saw Kai and I hugged him and I was bawling because like I said, like he's my motivation. And, you know, the year that I had personally with all the up and down and being cut, practice, like all that stuff. And then to be active, you know, for the playoffs and for the Super Bowl and get to play in those games, like like I just want to, like obviously I want to do the Lord's work, but like being a dad and, you know, raising Kai, like I want to show him that like no matter what life throws at you, it's like you can always get up and the Lord's always going to see you through, right? So that was just a really cool moment for me and him, and you know, shoot, my whole family as a whole. But we didn't do much. We went out to dinner, and yeah, that was pretty much it.
That's awesome.
It's more than enough, dude.
Yeah, way more than enough. Like that family time was all that I needed, man. And just, you know, for us to see the year through, it was crazy because, and we're actually talking about this. We just shot our latest episode 2 days ago, so we're gonna be dropping next week. And it's like a little quick little episode just because we haven't shot in a while. But we kind of talk about it, and Taylor, she's like, I told you at the beginning of the year, like, because once I got cut, I kid you guys, like I was done. Like I was like, I don't even want to play anymore. Like I'm about to figure out what's next in life. And Taylor was like, I think you should go to the practice squad because you just never know what's going to happen. Like what if at the end of the year you're playing again? And I'm like, there's no way. But it's like I was, and we won the Super Bowl, so it was just the Lord saw us through. And it was really rewarding to kind of just stick through it all and just trust him and follow him. Because there was times, through the year, I was like, I'm still done with it. Like, yeah, I'm doing it, but I don't want to. Like, it's hard. You know what I mean? Waking up every morning just to not play, like, it wasn't fun. So, yeah, I mean, saw us through.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, Parris, thank you so much for coming on. It was great having
Absolutely.
you. That's it. We'll see you next time on Against the Grain podcast.